Hejsa. This is it. This is my finished 100-day project. And I'm just going to show you the last page because that's the one I haven't showed yet. So this is the last page that I made for the project. And then I could turn everything into this textile book. So the cover is made up of various random scraps. Some of them are fabrics that I've used in one of the pages or more than one. And here on the back is one of the daily fabric collages that I didn't have room for in the number of pages that I had made. And also it was completely the wrong size. And the same is the case for this flower. I think this was actually the one I made on day 1. And again, it was too small. So I thought I could use those two on the cover, sort of show a little bit of what's in the book. I'm also pondering whether to put some kind of title either on the front or maybe on the spine, but I can't quite decide what, if anything, I want to put on there. So anyway, let's have a little look. So these are day 1, no, not day 1, day 3 through day, what was that, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one, don't know if you can see that, but this page was also smaller than most of the other pages in the book. So I had to add some etching to it. And the same goes for this one. So I tried to sort of use some fabrics that would, I mean, on this page it only had to go with itself, but here I used some colors that would go well with this page. The fabric that is connecting the pages, I've tried to use something that would go with both pages, but I haven't been too worried about it. And this one, so where there's 4 together and then there's the next 4, here I tried to sort of think about what the outside join, how that will look together with what's coming next, but again, not worrying about it too much. So I thought I was going to do a lot more birds than I did, but this is actually the second bird and the last bird. But it's okay. And this spread here was inspired by a cookbook I got from, or with Palestinian recipes. Just thought it would be nice to sort of use some of the ingredients, although the flower is not an ingredient, but you have to have some flowers. I'm really happy with how this pomegranate worked out. I was quite lucky that I had this fabric that sort of gives a little bit of texture. And more sort of alien flowers. I quite like how this spread here turned out, where there's sort of similarities between these flowers here and the circles, and I didn't really sort of try and match things up like that. And here's some bold flowers. I really like this page. I just loved the colors and I loved the flowers. And then we're into my little village here, which I'm really happy with this as well. I thought that turned out really well, and it was really fun to make. It's literally just find a square or a rectangle, find another square or a triangle, and sew it on this roof. And here are more houses. I actually really like this. There's just several pages of houses, and I keep thinking that it would be really fun to make something else with just random houses like this, maybe slightly bigger, although I really like how small they are. You can't really be too sort of precious or precise about how they turn out, which I quite like. And some more houses with some flowers coming out. And here I tried to make the same flower, but obviously using different fabrics. It's a bit folded over there. I have to admit that this house here, it kind of annoys me, because there's this line in the print on the fabric, and I just find it really distracting. Obviously I didn't notice it until after I had sewn it down. And these are sort of mandala-inspired collages. These were a lot of fun to make. And all of the pages, collages I made in this book, I made completely without a plan, but these definitely were, there was no plan. I just pulled out a selection of fabrics and saw what I could cut from them. So sometimes I had to cut some tiny circles and even some really tiny little rectangles here. But lots of fun. And also lots of fun because I glued all the bits down as I was going, but it wasn't until the last day, so I worked on these over 4 days each. On the last day I would add the stitching, and it felt like a little bit like a puzzle, figuring out how to do the stitching so that everything would be connected to each other in a way that made sense. The same goes for this one. And here's a similar thing. The background on this, not so great. It feels very distracting from what's happening with the collage. But you live and learn. And here are some more houses in a repeating pattern with some sort of flowers. And another, not quite mandala inspired. I think I started with just cutting out these sort of kind of flower shapes. And then I just, in my scraps, look for fabrics that were sort of purpley pinks. I thought that would go nicely with this yellow gingham fabric. I think, although neither yellow or purple is one of my favorite and not really a go-to colors for me. I think this is actually one of my favorite pages in the book. It just goes to show that you should use your least favorite color sometimes. This one I really like, but again, I think the background fabric is a little bit too busy. It's sort of a little bit distracting from these sort of flowers, which have gotten a bit flat. They're supposed to be more sort of fluffy. So I'll just fluff them up a little bit. And I think maybe I should have added more fluffy layers. I think that would have been fun. Some sort of kind of tulips. And some random flowers. I actually really like this one. I like the background. I think it goes quite well with the flowers. And it's kind of funny that these, to me, these pages look very sort of similar in terms of the colors. And then there's the last page where I used the same background fabric as on the previous page, but it just goes to show how much, or at least to me, it looks very different here than it does here. I feel like it's more obvious here. I'm not sure why, because you would think that with the stems here they're more similar in color to the background, but yeah, I don't know. So that's it. That's my 100-day project for 2024. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I'm also just really happy with this squishy book. I did add some extra support for the spine, just so that it wouldn't just flop all over the place. So this year's 100-day project. Who knows if I'll do one next year, but probably. We'll see. So I have a feeling that someone's gonna ask, how do you make the book? And I haven't got a video that's available on YouTube for how to do that, but I do have one that I made for the people who followed my prompts for last year's 100-day project. So if you wanted to make a textile book like this, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get the prompts and with the video included for how to put together a textile book like this. And really it's a fun thing to have a textile book, and it's especially fun to do all these random things like I did last year, and then look through them and get inspired to do new projects. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like. I hope you have a great day and happy stitching.